Robert Tobias. Why did the U.S. government take such an aggressive approach to the rather benign Branch Davidian cult, which resulted in the horrific deaths of men, women, and children, and yet the U.S. government continues to maintain a laissez-faire attitude toward all of the serious crimes of the Church of Scientology? I looked into the Branch Davidian Waco siege that occurred, many years ago. I think it was in the late 90s, and it was horrifying. I mean, the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which is a branch of the United States government, completely abused their power in a horrifying way and to horrifying results, and the FBI got involved as well. And their actions were unconscionable and certainly worthy of contempt. Now, that being said, because of, and if you want to look into what happened in that Waco siege, you'll quickly see what I'm talking about. However, the Branch Davidians were no saints, and David Koresh, the leader of the Branch Davidians, was not a good guy. He was a child molester, a pedophile, and they were not up to good things there. However, when it came to the letter of the law on guns, they apparently, from what I was able to read and dig up on this, they followed the letter of the law. And the reason that they were besieged and gone after was for suspected violations of guns, of collecting, an arsenal, and they did have an arsenal on their grounds of M16, semi-automatic weapons. Now, although there was not just cause for this, they were raided because the agents of the ATF said that they could convert those M16s to full automatic weapons, which would be illegal, and got a judge to sign off on them going after the Branch Davidians for that reason. There were lots of other reasons they should have been going after the Branch Davidians, mainly the child abuse that was going on the grounds there. Now, whether the adults were cooperating or not, the minor children who were in there having, sex with David Koresh, I mean, that was really bad. And nothing I'm saying about the unjust or militant actions of the ATF or the FBI or any, attempt on my part to excuse the actions of the Branch Davidians or their complicity with letting David Koresh have his way with young children. It was disgusting. I mean, the whole thing was just gross. So that was the basis on which they went into that compound was the weapons cache and the idea that there was some kind of paramilitary action going on in there. Like it was some kind of a survivalist compound or something. Now, what sparked the ATF to get such a hard-on to go after them in the first place, I'm not totally sure. The string goes down to weapons. And, when it comes to Scientology, there is no such fear. Scientology does not particularly cache or have big weapon stocks. There was, with the Branch Davidians, there was mail being sent. They were mail ordering weaponry, and they were mail ordering ammunition and whatnot. And there were reports and such of this stuff, getting into the Branch Davidian compound. There's no such thing with Scientology, right? They have some shotguns and weapons, I'm sure, at the Int base, and I know for a fact they have shotguns and pistols at the Pacific base, the big blue buildings. Locked up in the security cabinets, but Scientology is generally, while they have a paramilitary sea organization, those people are not weapons trained. I mean, I can just tell you with no question whatsoever that none of those people are preparing for any kind of bunkering in and military type sieges and anything like that. Nor are they prepped for any kind of Jim Jones final solution where they're all going to drink the Kool-Aid or something. Scientology doesn't really have that kind of flavor to it. And internally inside Scientology, I don't think anybody in that group would particularly go for something like that I know of. They'll defend their buildings and whatnot. I know during the LA riots, they certainly, had a bunch of men circling the buildings, and they brought out some rifles and whatnot when that was going on. But that was in response to literally looting and rioting going on right outside their buildings. So, that's not quite the same thing as what the Branch Davidians were doing. I wish the government would go after Scientology. I wish a raid could occur. I think, honestly, one other part of this answer that has to be said is that Scientology seems to have, they do have very deep pockets, and they seem to have very high connections within certain government circles. And I say that because there was a raid that was going to occur, reportedly, at the INT base by the FBI within the last few years, and that was called off literally within a day or two of it supposed to being scheduled to happen, because somebody high up in the FBI was somehow influenced by Scientology in some way to send orders down the line to cancel the full investigation and raid that was going to occur. And that's according to reports I've read from Mike Rinder and Marty Rathman. So you can find that stuff online. So I think that also plays a part in why Scientology hasn't received the attention it should from certain government agencies, where they have given it attention, but then that attention gets cut off at the knees, when action is supposed to be taken. So that's about all between the conjecture and the actual information I have, that's the best answer I can give you right now.